You've probably been there before, scrolling through videos, reading blog posts, or bouncing between one dog training book and another, only to find yourself caught in a mix of contradictions. One trainer swears by food rewards and never says no. Another emphasizes structure, leash pressure, and consequences, while a third talks about building drive and using games as currency. So at first it might feel empowering to have access to so many perspectives, but very soon that variety turns into confusion. You start wondering, can I pick and choose, can I combine what I like from each approach and create my own hybrid style? After all, they all seem to get the results. But something isn't sitting right. Your dog seems hesitant, progress comes in spurts, but regression follows just as quickly. You're stuck between techniques, never fully committing to one, and your dog is left to decipher a language that keeps changing. That creeping doubt you feel, it's not a sign that you're doing something terribly wrong. It's the natural results of inconsistency. So today we're going to talk about exactly what happens when training styles get mixed, why it matters, and how this blend, though often well-intentioned, can quietly sabotage your relationship with your dog. Before we dive into the problems caused by mixing styles during practical training, let me be very clear about one thing. If you're a beginner, I actually highly recommend that you explore every dog training philosophy known to humankind. Study the old school compulsion-based approaches. Watch how modern positive reinforcement trainers work. Observe balanced trainers, sport handlers, working dog professionals, behaviorists, and even people you might initially disagree with. Knowledge in itself is never dangerous, actually quite the opposite. It's your best defense against misinformation and dogma. So in the beginning, you don't yet have the tools to discern what works and what doesn't, and that's exactly why you need to expose yourself to a wide pool of perspectives. Because the truth is, if you blindly follow the very first trainer you encounter, whether online or in person, you're taking a big gamble. What if that person has no real understanding of dogs? What if they speak well but lack practical skills? What if their methods are rigid, incomplete, or even harmful? So, as you can see, anchoring yourself to a single voice too soon can create a distorted vision of what dog training really is. It's like learning a language by copying only one speaker. You will inherit their accent, their vocabulary, and their mistakes as well. So in your early stages, explore, compare, question, let your curiosity roam freely, absorb everything you can, not to become a confused patchwork of techniques, but to become informed. Because only when you have seen the spectrum can you start to think critically and make deliberate, cohesive choices for you and your dog. Problems begin to emerge not simply because you have studied different approaches, but because of how you apply them. The first major issue is a shift in your own attitude and character. Dogs don't just learn from the tools or techniques you use, they learn you. They associate your tone, your rhythm, your posture, your energy with meaning. When you suddenly start changing your entire demeanor, one day hyper-friendly and permissive, the next calm and assertive, while the next one loud and dominant, you're not just switching approaches, you're changing who you are in your dog's eyes. Let your core remain intact. Technique can evolve, but your emotional coherence, your identity in the relationship should not. Now, the second problem is inconsistency in application. This often happens when someone is impatient with the learning curve of a new method. They try it for a week, see limited results, and bounce to the next thing. But dogs need clarity and time. Every approach comes with its own language, a system of cues, expectations, and consequences. So when you switch systems too frequently, your dog never gets to finish the dictionary. You might feel like you're being flexible or adaptive, but from your dog's perspective, it's a moving target that never stabilizes. So the third trap to avoid when exploring different approaches, which is also the most ironic one, is abandoning what was already working in your training style. Sometimes in the excitement of discovering something new, people throw out tools or techniques that had already proven successful. But if something was functioning well, if it built trust, if it improved behavior, if it supported your communication, why remove it? Keep the core structure that your dog understands and build on top of it. Innovate around it. But don't dismantle the foundation just to try something trendier or more ideologically appealing. Progress in training doesn't always mean changing pets. Sometimes it means deepening the one you're already on. And finally, while it's true that dogs are capable of learning and adapting at any age, the early stages of life are by far the most impressionable. The first months are when the brain is the most plastic, when the emotional world is being defined, and when habits form like wet cement drying into concrete. Getting it right from the start is a massive advantage. Yes, you can always make corrections later. You can patch and rewire, but those early lessons stick deep. So ideally, that's when you want to show up already equipped with clarity, direction and purpose. Because the more cohesive and intentional you are in those initial stages, the more natural and smooth everything becomes down the road. So how can you actually benefit from mixing training styles instead of letting it create confusion and setbacks? Well, the answer lies not in reckless blending, but in strategic integration. The first principle is to avoid applying methods from extremists on either end of the spectrum. So this doesn't mean you can't listen to them, because actually you should, but applying their ideas blindly is often counterproductive. Whether it's the ultra-permissive camp that refuses any form of correction, or the hardline compulsion-based handlers who believe the leash is the only language a dog should understand, extremes lead to being rigid, and being rigid in training suffocates growth. So these polarized views can offer something to learn, even if it's just by contrast, but applying their full doctrine without context or balance will only limit your adaptability as a trainer. The second key is to always stay open to new ideas. The dog training universe is constantly evolving. Techniques improve, tools develop, and better ways of communicating with dogs emerge all the time. The moment you think you have figured it all out is the moment your growth stops, so always maintain a certain level of curiosity and flexibility. Now third, and this is crucial, you need to base your approach on the specific dog in front of you. Not every dog learns the same way. Not every dog has the same emotional baggage, thresholds or motivation. A fearful shutdown dog doesn't need the same kind of clarity and pressure that might help a dominant forward-pushing one find respect and boundaries. Your philosophy can remain consistent, but your application must adapt. Being flexible doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're intelligent enough to modulate. You are reading the dog and responding accordingly, not forcing a system onto the dog because it worked for someone else. And now let's proceed with the most important element in all of this, by far, which is innovate. The greatest dog trainers in the world, the 0.0001%, have one thing in common, which is they didn't just follow, they created. They took what they learned from someone else, absorbed it, broke it down, and rebuilt it through their own instincts and experiences. They tried something no one else had tried before. They paid attention to the results and weren't afraid to fail along the way. Innovation is where mastery begins. So, once you have built a solid base of knowledge, don't be afraid to trust your gut. If something feels right for the dog in front of you, even if you haven't seen anyone else do it before, try it anyways. Observe, adjust, and refine. The art of training lives in those moments where instinct and experience meet. That's where real progress happens, not just for your dog, but also for you. In the end, the real power of mixing training styles lies not in creating a chaotic patchwork of methods, but in creating a thoughtful, fluid system rooted in understanding, experience, and intuition. The goal here isn't to become a clone of your favorite trainer, nor to blindly reject everything that doesn't fit your current belief. It's to develop your own voice, your own feel, your own way of relating to dogs that is both informed by the greatest and shaped by your own unique perspective. So if you found value in this video and you want to see more content that dives deep into the heart of dog training, don't forget to subscribe. There's a lot more coming and I would absolutely love to have you on this journey. See you in the next one.